Boom, we are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome in. Take a seat and get comfortable. Hope you're all having an absolutely splendid day today. It's great to have you all here. Hope you're all keeping it safe and well. So, on today's video, we're going to be checking out a band called Monasteries, and specifically, we're going to be checking out one of their new songs, which is called Alone and Against. So, it's been a little bit quiet in the Monasteries camp recently. Like, they've still been touring, they've still been updating their social medias, but they've not released anything for, I mean, let me actually see how long it's been. It's been about a year. So they released Alone and Against. They released that on June 8th. And then they released another track called Heaven Failed Us, which came out on July 14th. So after being quiet for a little bit, they've been quite busy, and they've got an album coming out as well, which I'm extremely excited about. Yeah. So Lilac came out April 21st, 2022. Absolute monster of a track, but that kind of goes without saying with the Monasteries crew. To be perfectly honest, be quiet. Not yet. These guys have been so whenever I'm getting ready to do a reaction video, I always I like to do a little bit of research on the band. You know how it goes. Actually, maybe you're new here, maybe you don't, but I like to go into as much detail as possible when it comes to talking about when it comes to the subject of talking about these bands, because the music's so interesting, it's so intricate, there's so many different styles. I like to get a good feel for where the band started, where they've came from, what they've added, so on and so forth. But because I'm such a big fan of Monasteries, I don't actually have to go back and listen to every single thing that they've done, because I've heard everything that they've done like quite a few times. So I guess I honestly believe that Monasteries are easily one of the best deathcore bands in the world right now. Certainly top 5 in the UK. The UK's been pumping out a lot of good stuff recently. A lot of good deathcore, a lot of good death metal. Some of that death metal actually coming from Scotland. Bands like Penny Coffin and Coffin Mulch are doing some really, really good stuff. Sacrificial Burial are doing good shit as well. There's some up and coming deathcore bands coming out of the UK right now. There's a band called Unhallowed Void. They are also really, really good. But I think, without trying to be disrespectful to any of the other bands, I believe that Monasteries are they're a slightly different breed from all the other kind of deathcore bands out there. It's their creativity that really pushes them just a little bit ahead of all of the rest of the pack. Just crazy tempo changes, crazy style changes. They can go very like super techy. It's kind of got an almost Rings of Saturn vibe to it. They can go sickeningly heavy. Like they can go breakdown for breakdown with any other like heavy band you can think of. The mix is always great on their music. There's so much creativity thrown in there. They've got they throw in these little crazy sound effects just randomly in songs. So for like a little half second, you'll just hear things like distort a little bit, and then it'll go into our like crazy finger tapping section or something like that. I also believe that Josh, the vocalist, is again one of the best. Regardless, if you look at all of the deathcore vocalists right now, I think he's one of the top dogs. They're super underrated. They do numbers every time they release a song, but they're still quite underrated in my opinion. So yeah, I think that's enough fanboying. I think I've made it clear my feelings for these guys. If you want to hear some more thoughts, just go onto my channel and search for Monasteries, and I think that I've done, 4, maybe this might be the 5th reaction video I've done for these guys, if you want to hear a bit more detail. But truth be told, I just want to get into this new track. I'm still undecided whether or not I want to do a reaction for Alone and Against, and then also do one for Heaven Failed Us. I might just leave Heaven Failed Us for the for when I react to the full album. But we'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, let's get this shit going, guys and girls and whoever else. I'm always excited for I love doing this. I love doing reaction videos. But there's something specifically exciting about a new Monasteries track because we just really don't have any idea how this is going to sound. The only thing that I know for sure is that this is going to be an absolute slapper of a track. So, okie dokie. Right, I think we're ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Okie dokie. Monasteries. Alone and Against. Let's go. Alone and Against. Crucifying for my values. I may not destroy. Like a serpent in disguise. Driving the color out of my eyes. Listen, please, will leave me alone. Oh God, I feel so
We've seen.
No. No ads. No ads, please. Every time. Every time with these guys. Could you just put out a mediocre song one time, Monasteries? Please? Just once. Could you make a song that isn't an absolute blinder? Okay, so the first part I want to go back to here is the first minute of the song. I just want you to note all the cool little guitar bits they put in, the changes in rhythm, the changes in timing. Like they go through so many. They give you so many different looks within the first minute of a song. Something I've noticed about Monasteries as well. They're Lilac and Alone and Against, and I've got a feeling that the other track will do this as well. Their songs start much faster than they used to. There used to be a little bit of build up before they smashed you in the face, in the best way possible. But their songs are Lilac and this much faster. They get going immediately. In Lilac, I think there was like maybe like 2 notes on like a piano or something like that, and then it just went full like Rings of Saturn just like immediately, and it just never stopped. They did the same thing here. It's an interesting evolution of their sound, or maybe I'm just seeing details where there are none. But just listen to the first minute of this track. I mean, going through more styles and throwing more cool shit at you in the first minute of a song. Sometimes that's like what Monasteries do. Oh my god, what am I trying to say here? Let me vape. These guys do more experimentation on like in like the opening minute to one of their songs than some bands do in their entire career. Like it's just little sporadic fills, little string scrapes, little like that's a very Monasteries type thing, and then it goes kind of groovy, and then it goes kind of hardcore, and then like it started fast. It's almost overwhelming with Monasteries. Like there's so much going on. It's crazy. Okay, next part that I want to highlight. 1 minute, 10 seconds in. They don't go overboard with the... I'm going to sound like an old fucker here, but like the drum and bass, that's more trap beats, I think. They don't go overboard with it. They don't they don't give you like a minute. It's just like a little bit and then on to the next section. Right. This next section here, I want to just highlight that. I want to highlight Josh's vocals again. This dude can actually do everything. He's got a very distinct mid-range, mid-range mid. It's very distinctive. You know it's him. But he can also do goblin vocals as well. Just so much going on. So much going on. This section here, this is a horror show in the best way possible. These guys, I don't have any problems with black and deathcore. I love black and deathcore. Okay, I love metal in general. It's grindcore, power metal, Viking, metalcore, hardcore, whatever. I like it. I like it all. I really do. Wow, it just suddenly got really bright in here. Hold on. Unpredictable Scottish weather. I do apologise. No, that's the wrong bit. Let me just turn this down a little bit. Looks like I'm actually making this video at the pearly gates. Hold on. There we go. So, I love black and deathcore. And a lot of bands have made that jump from just being a straight deathcore band to kind of putting in some blackened elements here. And Monasteries could easily do that, but they create atmosphere using their kind of signature moves. So this section here with what I call alien core finger tapping style, it creates an atmosphere, and it's very unsettling. But it's not. It's nice to see bands be atmospheric without just going, let's just do some black metal vibes here. That's what we're going to hear when the AIs come to take over. It's like monstrous, like massively imposing, but also kind of intriguing. These guys, they're just, hi, okay, 250. That's another thing that monasteries do. There's lots of experimentation. There's lots of techie shit. There's that kind of like there's that kind of like flooding your senses with like with data style of making deathcore, just constantly throwing new looks at you. But then they're also able to write simpler stuff that's really catchy and has got a real hardcore vibe to it. That section which we're going to listen to again, the kind of slower section, more mid-paced. That reminds me very much of their EP. I think it's called Pulmonary Failure. Pulmonary Failure. I'm actually just gonna check that real quick. I don't want to spread any misinformation, because there's a wee bit of that out there. Not to get overly political, but you guys may have noticed. I want to say Pulmonary Failure. Pulmonary Failure, 2018, really great. But one of my favorite collection of songs that these guys have done. It's got Force Fed Apathy on it, which is the first song I heard by these guys. But that kind of like slower, hardcore, more kind of like simpler section reminds me very much of something off Pulmonary Failure. And then I want to just highlight this last section here. Just an awesome way to end a really good track. Fantastic. Absolutely fucking fantastic. It's, I don't want to use the word predictable, but these guys have been so consistent for such a long time. I mean, don't take my word for it. Go and listen to their last, 5 singles. Every one is an absolute monster. It's, what would be weird is if I came out of a Monasteries track going, yeah, it was okay. Yeah, decent guitar, decent vocals, decent that. That would actually be surprising. But at this point, predictable's the wrong word, because predictable seems to imply that like it's kind of like it's like boring. They're just going through the motions. They're not going through the motions at all. But they've just been so consistent for such a long period of time that it just, at this point, you expect nothing less from Monasteries. Yeah, what can I say? Unpredictable. Loads of different styles. Lots of experimentation. Less experimentation than they've been doing on their last releases. Allowing your enemies to die. Allowing your enemies to die. I think that's one of the last singles they released. Less experimentation, more of a kind of like old school Monasteries sound, especially with that kind of more kind of like straight, like kind of simpler. It's nothing about simple, but a more kind of straight hardcore section towards the end. Very, very Pulmonary Failure, but still relentless. Great mix as well. Really great mix. I would, as is always the case with modern deathcore, I always feel like the bass should just either be turned up a little bit, or it should have an effect on it to help it kind of like cut through a little bit. So that's, I guess you could maybe call that a criticism, but that's kind of a criticism I have of like 90% modern deathcore. I always kind of feel like the bass gets drowned out a little bit just because the guitars are tuned so low. But you could hear it really well in that little bit where it was kind of like, you know, just before the hardcore section with the bass just going away. It sounded really good. The snare could have been louder in a couple of places as well. That might just be my less than ideal headphones and my shitty old guy hearing. But the snare a couple of times was like drowned out, but minor criticisms. In essentially, I have no criticisms of that track whatsoever. Just another kind of perfect Monasteries song. These guys just keep delivering, and business as usual for the Monasteries guys. I cannot fucking wait to get my hands on a new Monasteries album, because God Almighty, that is going to be a long reaction video, because I'm going to have a lot to talk about with that. Fucking fantastic. As per usual, guys, well done. Absolutely smashed it, and I expected nothing less. So, as per usual, if you scroll down, you will find a link to the music video that we just watched. They're now releasing their music through a YouTube channel called Seek and Strike. Go check out Seek and Strike. They've got a bunch of good bands. Bunch of good bands on Seek and Strike, and Monasteries are, I think, again, without trying to sound disrespectful to everybody else, but I think those guys are the best. But there's a lot of other good guys on Seek and Strike. Go follow that YouTube. You'll also find links to where you can support the band by buying some merchandise. One of the best things you can do to support bands these days is to buy merchandise. Show up to one of their gigs, but I realize that's difficult because the Monasteries are from the UK. I can go and see them without like too much problem. But if you live in like, you know, China or something like that, that's a very, very long journey just to go and see, like, you see a band play, like, you know, a half hour, 40-minute set or whatever. But if you can't actually get to see them live, buying merchandise really, really helps them. Also, get their streaming numbers up. You'll find links to Spotify, Apple Music, blah blah blah, whatever else they've got. Links to other social medias: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, blah blah blah. Please, it really helps these guys out. Click on every single one of those one of those links. Like all their Instagram posts, slide into their DMs, let them know how much of a good job they're doing. Get their streaming numbers up. Maybe buy some merchandise. I know times are tough, but if you are a massive fan of these guys, buy some. They've got really, really sick merchandise as well. Really, really cool t-shirts. Just go and support these guys in any way you can, because not only are they a really great band, but I actually did have the pleasure of seeing them play live. That was that feels like about 100 years ago, but it wasn't 100 years ago. It was about a year and a half ago. I actually got to see them play live and got to hang out with them for a little bit. Really, really nice guys as well. Just go and support in any way you can, because let's build some hype for this album coming out, because it's their first like proper full length album, and God Almighty, I cannot wait to get cannot wait to get fired straight into that. So one more time, Monasteries. My brain's not working today. What's the song called? Alone and Against. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. Always a pleasure, and I'll catch you on the next one. Love you all very much. Peace.